When you're dealing, as we are, with millions of dollars in program and thousands and thousands of young women, and a need to talk to the business community, you can't work out of a dump. These quarters were acquired with a great deal of trepidation because they were more expensive than what we had, but will serve the program better.
Okay, everyone's running like crazy. Your Program Research Task Force is gathering data, interviewing people, and evaluating program activities. Your Property Research Task Force is gathering data, interviewing people, and surveying properties. Your staff is working round the clock trying to support your volunteers. You're all set, right? Not quite. What about marketing? Because what good does all this activity do if your wonderful program isn't reaching girls? What advice would you give a Marketing Research Task Force chair in another council?
I highly recommend it because I think it makes your planning much more focused on the future and much more focused on the community and the girls that we're trying to serve.
I hear that you went out and hired a company to do much of your task force's survey. Why is that?
That's right. One, because of the time factor, and we wanted to have the results in a timely manner. And then I think it's important to have an objective analysis of the information.
Okay, now tell us about the survey that you did. Who did it poll and what did you discover?
We surveyed what we considered to be the key stakeholders for Girl Scouts. We surveyed, naturally, girls. We also surveyed their parents. We surveyed community leaders because it was important for us to determine the expectations of the community of our organization. And we surveyed adult volunteers.
Direct results from that survey have been adjustments in outdoor program in terms of what kinds of programs we're offering. I think we learned as much from the adults who were parents responding to that survey as we did from the girls who participated in it.
I was very surprised that people didn't know what the Girl Scouts did or who we were, and I would hear comments like, "The Girl Scouts, gee, where are you?"
Part of making change is getting the word out. Pulling together a large amount of data, shaping it into conclusions that in turn will shape the future. That's hard, creative work. Work that involves analysis, communication, good old-fashioned lobbying, and the ability to forge a wise consensus. Now, how is the Integrated Task Force's job different from that of other task forces?
They have a completely different job. Whereas the other task groups are all involved in research, the Integrated Task Group that's where we put our visionaries. They may not really be good with numbers, but they're great with imagining alternative futures. This is where you put your most forward-thinking people. And they take the information that the research groups have generated or have come up with and mull it over and think about it, and they pose the strategic alternatives, and they're the ones that actually write the plan.
It is a time-consuming process, but the end result is well worth the effort.
So I think there was a lot of healthy debate about elements, about whether it was good for girls, whether it was good for the programming, was it going to support what the council really wanted to do. And I think that's healthy to have an exchange. And I think what we ended up with was a terrific plan.
And what was the actual method that your task force followed?
We met, we argued, and we wrote a report.
Now, what happens when this process, the long-range planning process, is over?
It's not over. It's never over. It's a cycle.
Yeah.
About the time you finish one plan, it's time to start the other one.
One of the richnesses of the example that we've used in the video with Southwest Pennsylvania, they did a long-range planning for their council a number of years ago. And when they'd accomplished all the things they'd set out to do, they said, it's time to do another.
Just when you thought it was over, it's time to start again. Girl Scouts of Southwestern Pennsylvania had worked hard to define their strengths and weaknesses. They'd thought about their goals and dreams, clarifying and strengthening their vision of the future. Now was the time to make that vision a reality. But to do that, they were going to need money. And not just money, money with a capital M. They had always been self-sufficient, always stood pretty much alone. But now, as Girl Scouts of Southwestern Pennsylvania prepared to turn for the first time to their community, they discovered that everything is related. And has the existence of a long-range plan made your job with the capital campaign easier?
Oh, definitely, because everything was laid out as to what it was that we needed to do. So then we just had to plug in numbers, and then the capital campaign could start.
How does the existence of a long-range plan make the council more attractive to business contributors?
Quite frankly, there are many more causes than there are funds available. So you have to have a good story to tell. You have to be able to put those funds to good use. And if you don't have a well thought out plan, a long-range plan, people aren't going to listen to you. The money's going to go somewhere else.
You've said that your job with the capital campaign is consciousness raising in the business community. What do you mean by that?
There is not the history of volunteerism and industrial support for female gender programs that there has been for male. There is not the mentor program nor the support structure for female programs that there's been for male programs.
Can you tell me who Mr. Corey is and how he became involved with this?
Mr. Corey is the CEO of USX Corporation. He called me one day. I had not been on the job for very long, and he called to say, "Hi, this is Chuck Corey from USX." And he just wanted to know what the Girl Scouts were doing these days, and he had been giving money to the Boy Scouts. USX has always been a heavy supporter of the Boy Scouts. And so I talked a little bit about what we were doing with the program, and he said, "Well, do you still have the pit latrines at one of your camps?" His daughters had gone to that camp a number of years ago. And I said, "No, we really don't have those pit latrines anymore, but we do at another one of our properties." So he said, "Well, why don't you come up and talk to me?" When we went to visit Mr. Corey, he took a great deal of time with us, and he said, "Well, I think we'll help you in some way." And I was concerned that we were going to get an insignificant amount of money. And so I said, "Mr. Corey, won't you make a major commitment to this organization?" And he eventually gave us $60,000.
Change is about learning to work together. The long-range planning process is about consensus, learning to listen to each other, learning to think and analyze and compromise together. It's not an easy process. Change can sometimes be hard. And if you're looking for a quick fix, for a slapdash job with big results, you're going to be disappointed. If you're looking for instant agreement, you've come to the wrong place. But if you've got the spirit to hope, the courage to dream, and the drive to make your dreams come true, long-range planning becomes your indispensable tool. So, who needs long-range planning? What do you think? To be continued, because long-range planning never ends.